Can I ask about, you mentioned that property tax cap, I mean, you seem to support that you really haven't put a percentage on it. I don't know if you thought it to that point. But the question is, I mean, we had Governor Patterson on TV this morning talking about the economic crisis in New York. He used the word catastrophe or something, and he said that the deficit looks to be over the next 3 years in the $20 billion range. So how are you going to feed more money into districts to cover some of the problems with the cap in an environment where we're looking at huge deficits?
It's called prioritizing. I mean, right now we have it's my understanding that the budget, the way it has been approved by the controller of the state, that we're okay for this year. We do face some challenging times ahead of us. We're going to have to prioritize. I mean, the governor has talked about cutbacks in different agencies. We have to be supportive of him, to cut back and prioritize where we're going to spend our money. And my opinion, the priority has to be education, property tax relief, and health care. I think those are the areas we have to protect, and we have a moral obligation to protect those areas.
But, Senator, with regard to those, when you look at New York State, our per capita taxes are about $2,000 higher than the national average. And most of the excess spending, or most of those taxes, are then being redirected on spending in education, in welfare, and in healthcare. So if we're going to protect those areas, where are the cuts going to come from? We can't, I mean, it's just the math doesn't work out in the long run.
Well, I mean, we're going to make the math work accordingly. But, again, if you have to establish priorities. And we'll work our way through the system, the budgeting process, and where it's appropriate to cut or control spending growth, we'll do it. But again, my beliefs are that education, property tax relief, and health care, people have the right to affordable health care. I mean, our family health care program and child health care, these are all programs that are absolutely necessary, I think progressive and good. And my position is we're going to protect the healthcare system in this country and in this state and create jobs.
To pick up on that point, we do pay more per pupil in this state for education than any other place in the country, and by a considerable amount. Would you say that there is a way to cut back, for instance, on administrative costs or other costs within the schools? In other words, can you see and would you fight for lowering the dollar spent per pupil in the state on education?
I'm not going to look to cut the quality of education. There can be efficiencies within the school districts. We just came through a period of time where we saw with superintendents and attorneys the double dipping, the pension abuse that were occurring. And, I worked very closely with Attorney General Cuomo, and again, that was a bill I sponsored that would not allow attorneys any longer that are essentially independent contractors to be part of the pension system. That was an abuse. We have more accountability in terms of the legislation, the publishing of salaries and fringe benefits for superintendents and other individuals that work within the school system, not just superintendents, and that type of transparency so people can see how their money is being spent. But then it's also the responsibility of where you have budget votes, people to get out and vote. And unfortunately, with school board elections and with budget votes, they're not coming out the way they should.
Do you believe the teachers' unions have too much power in the state, both at the state level and at the local level, to drive up costs? And if so, are you planning to try to do anything about that?
I think the teachers have to understand, and I believe they do, that we're in a very difficult time right now, and that people are struggling. They can't pay their taxes and their property taxes. And one of the things I did say to the governor, when we deal with the real property tax reform, I think we have an opportunity where we can make everybody comfortable in terms of what we do. And that's my goal. And that includes the teachers, that includes the PTAs, and that, but most importantly, the taxpayers.